recently, our organization, CGI Poconos, decided to do a capital campaign to grow the garden, because Camp Gan Israel, Baruch Hashem, is entering our 12th season, and we are projecting, with the growth that we're experiencing, to run out of space for not this coming summer, but for 2024, and therefore we're embarking on a capital campaign to build 8 more cabins and a multi-purpose building, as well as acquiring a log cabin which borders our property. In any case, I've been working on the case statement, which all fundraising campaigns require, and it's coming along, and I've been asking a lot of people for feedback. It got to the point, it's 16 pages long with a lot of pictures. I decided to bring it to the Ohel on Yud Shvat, which was a couple nights ago. And then when I got there, I wrote the pawn. I was with my wife. We were together, and she covered the family in Yanim, and I was writing about camp. And I decided, went inside, and I read the pawn, said Tehillim and Minor Lashon, and I was read the pawn, and I read through the document. I decided, as we do, we rip it up, and I ripped it out. It was a 16-page document, enriched it for twice, so it came out to 64 pieces, and I went ahead and cast the pieces into the area where all the pieces, the panim, end up, and one little piece, miraculously, just kind of flew up into the air, as if a wind or a breeze caught it. It floated up in the air for a good 1 or 2 seconds, which was really strange, because all the other pieces fell right to with the rest of the letters to the Rebbe, and it fell outside. If you're familiar with the Ohel, there's an area between where the men and the women stand. There's a chain kind of partition, and it fell right there on the floor. So I walked over to the piece of paper. My intention was to pick up the piece of paper and put it in with the other pieces, but as I went over and picked it up, I was shocked. I could not believe what I was seeing. And I kind of trembled a bit and took the piece and put it in my Tehillim that I was holding, and just sat there for a few minutes and tried to grasp the moment. What I picked up was something that I'll show you now real quickly. It was a picture from the brochure on the inside cover that is obviously not Tznius, and although I had shared this document with many, many people, since it's a beautiful picture of young women, our campers who are not from, lighting candles, I guess the beauty of the picture had me overlook the sensitivity of Tznius, of modesty, and therefore it made it through all the people who had reviewed it up until the moment that I shared it with the Rebbe at the Ohel. And it seemed very, very clear to me. I might know this might sound a little bit crazy, but it seemed very, very clear to me. I never had seen this happen before, where someone went and literally leaned over to put the ripped up letter into the area where the letters all go, and one piece just kind of miraculously flies up into the air and lands outside on the floor where everyone's standing. So I took this as a very, very clear sign on Yud Shvat, no less. Shvat, we were marking, it's a very auspicious day. The Rebbe, the Frierdiker Rebbe's yard site, and a year later, the Rebbe took on the Nesias, and the Rebbe gives over the Maimer Bas Lagani, creating a dwelling place for us here in this physical world. And so to the garden Israel, and the Rebbe named Gan Yisrael for after Israel Baal Shem Tov, but used the garden, which is a metaphor which is very appropriate. And so too, here we are on Yud Shvat, and the Rebbe is I feel, giving me a very, very clear sign that the case statement is good, it's accepted, except not this part. You need to go back to the drawing board and go back to the computer and edit this part and put in maybe a similar picture of girls lighting candles, but in a Tznius way. As we know, the Rebbe was very, very particular about these inyanim, from people who actually brought, manuscripts and books, Sivas Hashem, or was it Talks and Tales. The Rebbe was very particular and very careful about these ideas, that things should be done properly and modestly, following according to halacha. So it's really, really, really powerful. I proceeded to share the story with my wife, because we weren't actually next to each other inside the Ohel when we came out, and I was right by the Rebbe's picture at the time. And when I lifted it up and I showed it to her, what was on the back of the letter, if you could see that, kind of even hit it home even stronger, being in the position which I am, I have to take full responsibility for all the decisions that the organization makes and puts out there and presents. So here is a story of how the Rebbe answers. They say you go to the Ohel and write a letter, and the Rebbe will find a way to answer. Here's a very simple story, but a very powerful story of how one shliach got an answer from the Rebbe immediately. He didn't even accept the pon or the manuscript, the case statement they call it. Anyway, thanks for listening. I hope you found this inspiring in your avoda.